Welcome to day one of Affiliate Summit. Hopefully everybody is acclimated and settled in here in Las Vegas. I wanted to thank you for joining us today in this session around up-and-comers. So talking about recruiting and working with smaller affiliates and influencers in the space. In terms of things we'll cover today, we'll just talk a little bit about why you want to work with some up-and-comers and have a portfolio of affiliates that kind of fall into that small, medium size partner. Talk about some recruitment tactics and tools that we've used and we use as an agency. We'll also talk about some onboarding and activation tactics that hopefully you can use. And also talk about nurturing and growing these partnerships. So before we start, just by a quick show of hands, how many here are on the merchant or advertiser side of the business? Great. How about on the agency or network side of the business? All right, great. Well, before we start, I wanted to just share with you a little story about when I started in the affiliate industry back in 2006. So a friend of mine, who's now a friend of mine, Sabrina Malone, runs a site called workingmom.com. And she was a mommy blogger before it was cool to be a mommy blogger. So we worked primarily with consumer tech, digital goods. So not like the ideal candidate or fit for, say, a software company in terms of a merchant or affiliate program. So talking with Sabrina, she had some experience working with some different software providers. And one of the things that I really learned in my conversations and getting to know her and why people come to workingmom.com is that it's about merchandising and customizing and tailoring your message to the audience. So sure, I'm going to workingmom.com to find out about, mommy blog, parenting type stuff, but also we can merchandise our offers and products and services to really align with her message and what people are there to see. So over the years, had the opportunity to work with her, and she's really developed into a great partner and someone I look up to. And conversely, over the years, from an agency perspective, she really relies on my personal insight and our agency's insight and guidance and how to best promote our services and offers that we're promoting. So really a symbiotic relationship there, and something I wanted to talk about a little bit before we dive in here. So keeping in mind, I know what just happened with the Vikings, and I'm not a gambling man, but kind of funny when you think about it. So why work with smaller affiliates? So, at the end of the day, everybody's probably familiar with the household names of cashback deal sites, loyalty sites, but really what we're looking for is diversifying our revenue and making sure that you have a healthy portfolio of affiliates that you're working with. So people that we're talking about are really influencers. These are the aficionados, the enthusiasts, and the votaries of affiliate marketing. Somebody like this guy, somebody who's driven by passion, loves what they're doing. And why these people are important is that, there's affiliates getting involved in this industry every day. They could be a blogger, they could be doing product reviews or buying guides. They may not be aware about affiliate programs in the space today. 1 second. But what we can do as advertisers, merchants, and agencies is help them learn about how they can better monetize their content. So when we're talking about up-and-comers and some of these smaller folks, it's really important to tailor our messaging to them. If we come in talking about CPAs and CPMs and rev shares, they may not know the language. So it's important to really understand their core functions, their audience, and what sets them apart as a publisher when we're working with them. Hang on here. There we go. So the first step in really recruiting these types of smaller publishers is defining what your end goal, what's the end game in mind here. What we do is we create a partner profile and really defining what the requirements are and who will be influential and help us reach the goals that we're looking to achieve through this partnership. Obviously, from a revenue perspective, me, like many of you, are certainly focused on revenue. But at the end of the day, there is some branding and awareness that can come with working with some of these smaller affiliates. And as they grow as publishers, those relationships that you're harboring and nurturing early on can turn can be more long-term plays and have some long-term value to your business. So again, creating a partner profile helps you figure out who your target market is. And second, what I mentioned a little bit earlier is really refining your value proposition. So in the case of Sabrina Malone and Working Mom, if I came and talked about, hey, we've got this great antivirus and you should promote it, that's probably not going to resonate with her. It's probably not going to resonate with her audience. So being able to merchandise your messaging and providing the details and relevant information that will help her or your partner be more successful is really key. One of the things that we've done, we have a customer that's a regional retailer, and they're really gung-ho about working with some different bloggers in their space. And as you may not know, bloggers have different experiences and interest in working as affiliates. So what we did for them is we created a welcome kit that basically was a package of information that had not only their affiliate links, but product guides and other what would consider to be internal sales tools and marketing materials that we shared with affiliates. So it really helped them be able to generate unique content around some products that they may not be familiar with in their day-to-day operations. Another great thing to do that we recommend is looking at some different prospecting tools out there. We'll talk about this in a little bit more, but there's a lot of resources out there, both paid and free, that you can use to help prospect and find potential partners. So at the very basic level, using Google Alerts to set up different product keyword lists or competitive keyword lists where you get notifications of who's publishing copy and content around these specific items can be a really powerful tool, at least a good starting point to see who's talking about what in your space. And last is really just developing your partner pipeline. I'm not sure what's going on with the computer here, but so developing kind of your target list and developing that pipeline as you would any other sales or marketing pipeline in terms of developing those relationships and having stages of where they're at in discussions, from a prospective discussion to in the program to inactive to live to sale active. So having those defined things can help manage your prospective affiliates that you're looking to recruit. So in terms of some of the tools out there, as I mentioned, there's quite a few. We've had luck working with Tracker, 5IQ, who's also going to be here speaking later. Those are all certainly good resources to help identify who the influencers are, who's talking about your products, your services in the marketplace. Some of these tools you can actually see their audience engagement as well. So you can see not only how many times they've published content on Twitter to their social network, but also how is their audience engaging with it? How many times has that been retweeted or favorited? So all of these metrics can be used when you're determining whether or not they're going to be a good potential affiliate, because obviously traffic out of the gates, site traffic is probably not a good metric in terms of identifying the potential of the partner. All right. So in terms of onboarding and recruitment, or activation rather. So one of the things that is very helpful, again, working with people that may or may not know much about affiliate marketing as a monetization model, is creating a new partner guide. So helping them understand not only the high-level information about your program, but also common FAQ type things that may be helpful for them to get started. One of the things that we've also found to be successful is doing partner consultations and webinars. And this is actually something that works you can use two different ways. One, from a onboarding and activation perspective to help educate and get people engaged in the program, but also working with your affiliates as a means to kind of do some collaborative content creation, having them do webinars or having them potentially host webinars, and doing some video and different marketing activities around your services and their experience. Certainly as you recruit new partners into the program, activation's a big piece. I can't tell you how many times we've come into a situation where they have, a merchant will have, 100, 200 affiliates. None are doing anything, or a very small percentage are. So by creating activation incentives, this could be having them send you a quick email or letting you know when they have a page up or content up, when they have their affiliate links in place, is just a real easy way to create a connection with the partner. And it also helps you build upon next steps in being able to create some unique promotional opportunities together. And then from a segmentation and automation perspective, once you're building your portfolio of affiliates, segmenting those partners, not only by what kind of website they are, if they're a coupon, deal, blogger, et cetera, but also kind of what level, what has worked. Are they very good? Do they have a large social media network, for example? Do they do video? Do they have, what are their capabilities? So creating those segmentations of your publisher groups can help you develop and nurture those relationships. All right, so in terms of nurturing, there's a couple key points that I want to talk about here. As I mentioned earlier, just because they're not a big player in your program today doesn't mean that down the road they're not going to be a good long-term partner. Understanding their business fundamentals is really key. Understanding what they're working on, what are the key initiatives they have on their product roadmap for 2016? Are they working on mobile? Are they, what is their fundamentals and what are the opportunities to work with them? And we also work to be setting goals. So using the acronym SMART goals. So making sure that they're measurable, achievable, and something that you can both be accountable to as a merchant and publisher is really key here. And that's something you can do either on a monthly or quarterly basis with your publishers. And one thing that, especially with some of the up-and-comers, test different monetization models. Rev share might not be the best opportunity for them today. They may be sending a lot of traffic that's not converting, so there might be some opportunities to test a CPC or different, flat fee placement with some partners just to gain that exposure, and hopefully open some doors and figure out different ways to monetize the site. But that's something I think that we've seen is so many people get so fixated on the rev share side of things. Having that flexibility, and it certainly goes a long way to the affiliate, but also can again open some doors down the road. And I think when you're looking at some of the smaller affiliates in the space, you need to be mindful in terms of how you're structuring your incentives. So commissions based on, or contests based on total sales or things of that nature, it's irrelevant for a smaller affiliate. So doing some sort of multi-tier program, having opt-in programs or incentives certainly helps give hope and a chance for some of the publishers that may not be the big players in your program today, but can certainly help get them on track to start being meaningful partners for your program. And then doing quarterly partnership reviews. Again, as you're setting goals with your partners, different campaigns and activities, follow up with them, make sure, see what you learned from the campaigns, and and really see how things are progressing. Things may be working out great. They may be very happy, and in some cases, it might not be a viable option, and best to just be very candid and transparent with that, and see how you can tailor things moving forward with them as a merchant. So just as a quick recap before we get into FAQ or Q&A. So smaller publishers, obviously, it's purely a volume play. So they can be easier to work with just because they're more nimble, they're more fluid in being able to do different campaigns and promotions of your products and services, and they can really be strategic long-term plays. As the online space changes, algorithm changes, and as they grow their website and audience, nurturing those relationships from before they were big is something that can really pay dividends in the long run. Influencers and non-traditional affiliates can add value even if it's not immediate. So again, don't undermine the value of having that presence and awareness working on different sites. That may not pay out today, but again, it's certainly not hurting having that awareness and exposure on multiple websites. And then really paying it forward, so helping affiliates grow their business. One thing I love about this industry is everybody's very entrepreneurial. So being able to help them, sharing some ideas, sharing what's worked, what you've seen, really goes a long way in helping them become better publishers, and again, may come back to you, and hopefully they can pass that along as well. So just a couple other sessions here at ASW around recruitment. As I mentioned, there's Van Chappell from 5IQ. He has a software recruitment tool. He has a session tomorrow on Monday tomorrow, about using data to improve your recruiting strategies. And then on Tuesday, Sarah Bundy from All Inclusive Marketing is also doing a session on useful affiliate recruitment strategies that work. So that is what I have for us today. If there's any questions, would encourage you to step up to the microphone and ask away. Yes.
Situation where, I don't know if you would term them non-traditional affiliates, like people that they like your product or whatever, and you want to make them affiliates, but they really have no idea what it is. So there's like a really big ramp up educationally to get them on board. Do you have any tips or suggestions for dealing with that kind of space of newbie affiliates?
Sure. So the question was, what about affiliates that may not know about the industry, about how to monetize? They're really brand advocates. They love your product services, but there's a lot more hand-holding and education. I think there's certain things that you can do through automation in terms of if you're able to get them into the program, setting up some automation and drip campaigns to help get them the resources and tools that they need. From an education perspective, I think what we've found is doing webinars and recording them and kind of having those resources available is really helpful. And sometimes different, they may have feelings about using affiliate links on their site or not, or they may just not know. So I think just understanding what their background and history is and helping them, either sharing relevant experience with other publishers that are similar size is helpful, or figuring out what works for them as a partner.
When it comes to using or meeting potential affiliates that don't really understand the model, I've got a particular niche where they're gamers, okay, and they don't understand affiliates and how this works. And they're evangelist for my product. Do I bring in the affiliate and give them the commission, even though they probably weren't ever really expecting that? Or do I find a strategy that is able to extract the same end result, but doesn't cost me as much?
Sure. So what I would recommend is understanding what their monetization model is. If they're earning revenue, through traditional, CPM or something like that, that may be more cost effective, frankly. Ultimately, you need to understand what their goal is and why they're working with you and why they love talking about you. If you don't have to pay for it, that's certainly fine. I think everybody loves free advertising and free traffic. But introducing that as an opportunity for them to generate some incremental revenue may present some new promotional opportunities for you and to do some pretty unique things together, or even create some sort of exclusivity. Not knowing much about your business, but I'm guessing you guys have a pretty competitive marketplace, in the gaming industry. Figuring out what you can do together and maybe build in some sort of exclusivity in exchange with different payouts or compensation.
And last question, when you've got a particular niche that you've got affiliates just coming in the door, you've got something that you recognize a lot of people need. What is your strategy on scaling, like the amount of affiliates you bring in the door? Is there anything that you just, like the wow factor of, okay, this really allowed us to scale, from 300 affiliates in the space to 3,000 very quickly? Is there any insight you can give there?
So we've always approached we get asked that a lot. I've been asked that a lot. Like, what's the ideal number? How many affiliates should we have in the program? I think we've always focused more on the quality of partners versus, scaling to 50,000 affiliates for the program. There's, depending on what your, bandwidth and resources look like in terms of managing that program, scaling too quickly, unless you have tools to monitor the compliance and things like that, could be problematic. And so, my personal belief is always to focus on the quality publishers that you can work with on a one-on-one basis.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. So the question is, with publishers and affiliates that may not be as forthcoming in terms of how they're getting traffic and generating leads for you, what sort of quality measures do you have in terms of vetting the leads that are coming in? Is it Sure. So I think, with where we've seen companies get into trouble is when they're, if they're unable to qualify the leads or, measure the quality. I think it's a two-way street when it comes to working with publishers. So I think, if things are going if it's working and there's no issues with fraud or bogus leads coming in, and they don't want to engage or kind of take the steps to work closer with you, that's certainly fine. I think where we've seen clients be most successful is where it's really a partnership. Frankly, the black box approach of not, seeing what's behind the curtain type of thing with where you're getting traffic and things can be problematic. So I don't know if that's helpful or not.
I'm just going to talk to my seat. I can't
Sure.
talk very well.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you talked about were the tools to sort of figure out who's posting content
Sure. You're not going to like this answer, but it varies by tool. No, I mean, at a very high level, you can just see who's talking about what. At a more granular level, you can actually see, the traffic, where what sort of influence they have. Different tools are starting to, integrate in with, Alexa and some of the other website information out there. But, as it comes with influencers, the biggest thing is really, looking through their content. Is it, relevant to your services or products? And then is it somebody that you want engaging and representing your brand? There's very expensive tools like with Tracker, for example. They provide a lot of insight into more traditional, I would say non-traditional. They include journalists and media sites. You can filter kind of by publisher type as well. But again, it really depends on what the end goal is, and then building those requirements around what sort of traffic you want, what sort of outreach and engagement and influence that they have as a marketer.
I guess how would that differ so much from just, generally searching for our product and then finding different publishers and backtracking into who they are? How
Sure.
does that differ? From just using straight Google back?
So you're probably getting traffic today from those folks that are already indexed on your products and services. So from a business perspective, do you want to be paying for that? Yes, no, I mean, it's up to you. Ideally you want to get in front of people that have influence, have a broad reach of relevant readers and audience, so that you can get into some new eyeballs and new customers. So, all right, I think we have time for one more. Yeah.
Let me ask you about, I saw your tips on how to recruit and basically what you're supposed to do. We have right now a lot of top tier affiliates that work with us,
Sure.
as well as bloggers and things like that. But I find that we've done all tips where we send out to get people engaged, where we ask them to, for the first time, or just to get some traction, we'll offer some sort of bonus to get people to actually sign up. But I find like sometimes we have a lot of top tiers, and we have top tiers that are signed up with us, but there's almost no engagement. And how like sometimes we send out newsletters or we send out some sort of email, it feels like there's a black hole in the space, no response. Is there any way to maybe, we offer them higher commissions sometimes in order to get them to join more, or we offer certain things very niche
Mm-hmm.
within a specific space. Is there any way that you'd recommend maybe we can actually hear more responses from actual people that we actually try to recruit?
So do you have a pretty, I guess, what metrics are you tracking in terms of your engagement outreach campaigns? Is it pretty automated, or does it,
It varies.
okay.
It varies. It's not, we're very specific on products that we sell.
Mm-hmm.
So, we try to look out for certain bloggers for certain products, and certain top tier affiliates for certain products also. We don't just hammer them with everything. So we're very specific in what we look into, but at the same time, there are affiliates that we would love to engage with and work with, but there is just the dialogue stops on them, and it just nothing. We don't get back any response or anything of that nature. Is there any way how we can engage them that we can have them be more active?
Sure. So the question is, how do you get rid of the black hole of emails and get more engagement and response? Two words: persistence and perseverance. No, I think if you understand, if they're on your target list, I want to work with these guys. Learn as much about them as possible. We just kind of drip. We do drip campaigns, sending out different industry publications or case studies that we may have found that may be relevant to them, something of value, kind of that I think lead bait, or I think is the term used, give something to them and hopefully engaging, getting a response to help start the conversation. I think it's just getting creative and finding different ways to reach out to them and again, show value to them. Everybody likes to be pursued and courted as starting a partnership. So, getting creative and I'm sure something's going to work, but it doesn't always happen the first time. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. There's some speaker reviews on the table. Feel free to fill those out, and hope you have a very productive rest of the show. Thank you.